Hey guys, welcome to a little video we're going to put together today. We're calling this the All Japan Toy and Hobby Show Preview because, well, that's what it is. What we've got to talk about today is the fact that Aoshima has put out their release list for the fourth quarter, which, of course, all the stuff they're going to be doing, a big display for at the All Japan Toy and Hobby Show, which is a month from now, right, as it stands right now. Also, we got a couple of things out of Tamiya. Also, I guess this all would have been Monday morning, and I just was trying to wait for some information to filter through, and it doesn't look like it's going to, so I don't want to hold the information back any longer, and we'll just, go with what we got. From Tamiya, because I don't have pictures of this stuff, they're going to be adding another kit to their large scale series, or they call it big scale. This is going to be what I believe will be another modified reissue of the 1/12 scale Tyrrell chassis number 3 to be done as the 1971 Monaco Grand Prix. Now, this kit has been reissued once in 2008, where you could build it in at least 3 different livery versions, the 71 and 72 British Grand Prix, and a qualifying car for the South African Grand Prix. And it did come with photo etch at that point. It's really in Tamiya terms, ancient tooling. All their big scale kits, of course, are actually really, really good because of the amount of quality, of course, you can get out of a 1/12 scale kit as opposed to 1/24 scale. But this was originally marketed as the Tyrrell Ford F1 car, and it's from the mid-70s, I believe, is actually when it's out. It was actually big car number 9 as far as the where it was in the series. Where it's going to be placed in this version is number 54. So there have been some kits in the large-scale category since then. Being that it is number 54, there are going to be enough differences with it that Tamiya did put it underneath a new stock number, so it's not going to just be a straight reissue. What it's going to have as far as parts or differences beyond perhaps just a different livery for the Monaco Grand Prix, more likely it's going to have a like new photo etch and perhaps some turn metal velocity stack intakes, like a lot of their other recent kits where they've been doing a little tweaking to them, putting real turned aluminum in where there would be plastic in the past. So again, we'll probably have to wait until maybe next week or somewhere in the beginning of September, if not the actual show itself, to get the full information out of it. The other one that's a little more interesting to the majority of us to build 1/24 scale is underneath the SKU code, so to speak. Anybody who's done retail knows what a SKU code is 24342 Mazda Roadster. The Unos and Mazda Miata, because the Unos is the Japanese version and the Miata was, of course, the U.S. North American version. There were 2 separate kits that Tamiya put out that way. One was designed to be home market, one was designed to be sold by Tamiya USA here in North America. Both still exist as far as the kits in the catalog, so I don't believe that this is going to be a reissue of either of those because they still have their own SKUs and their own kit numbers. Being that this will be Real Sports number 342, which is the most recent number, 341 will be the Nismo R32 GTR that's supposed to come out before the end of August here. A lot of us think this may be, and this is no promise because we don't know. It just literally says Mazda Roadster. The only car that's ever been called a Mazda Roadster by Mazda is the MX-5 family. So we're kind of thinking here that this may possibly be the new MX-5, the 2016. So it may be the first kit of that new car that just went on sale here in the third quarter of 2015 as far as actual 1/1 car sales. So that would be really, really, really neat if it is. If it's a version or a modified upgrade of the original body series Miata that came out way back in 1989, I guess that's okay. But I mean, obviously, you know which way I'm leaning with that. I'd love to have the new MX-5. New cars always, good, more gooder, newer cars. And for the other thing, we're going to spin the camera around, point it at the computer screen. Now, I know this is going to cause a whole bunch of fuzz because we've done this before, but it's just the easiest way to go through this and the quickest way to go through this while I show you pictures. So hang tight while we spin the camera, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, guys, here's the Aoshima news for the end of 2015. As you see up here in the corner of the show days for the All Japan Hobby Show. The big thing a lot of you guys may have heard about if you belong to any kind of forums or you belong online at all, of course, would be and this isn't really news because we covered it back in February at the Nuremberg Toy Fair, of course, is the official announcement for the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento. So this kit will be now produced. There are some new 3D tooling mock-ups. I'll show them to you guys on Friday because with this camera being the high-def one, it's really difficult to interlace pictures with my speech without having to record the speech separately and put it all back together again, and I'm just too lazy. A little notice here, they're doing a naked bike series of some Honda CB400s. They're going to have engines in them. These are going to be large scale. They're like 1/12, I think. So that if you're interested in that genre, that's up here. Other thing to note real quick are these pair of 1/72 scale Isuzu-based fire trucks. One is going to be a giant ladder truck, and the other one is a pumper truck that has a remote-controlled firefighting robot. I've seen all of the 3D CAD designs for these things, and they are really, really detailed for being Braille scale, 1/72 scale. Again, it's a space concern in Japan. The houses just aren't as big. A lot of people live in apartments, so your trucks get, downsized quite a bit. There. But back over here to the Sesto Elemento. Like I said, we have some 3D tooling mock-ups I'll show you on Friday. There also is going to be a detail upset for this kit, so there will be a factory set of photo etch, probably some seat belts and things like that, like they've done with the Aventadors and the Murcielago. And then pretty much there's a lot of, ships and figures and 1/32 scale art trucks you see there. And then we go back into the meat and potatoes here of what actually is going to be the 1/24 scale kits for the end of the year. Over here, you have two more kits in the initial D series, very highly demanded if you are part of that, of the initial D series, because there was a great big race between Takahashi Ryusuke and his RX-7, and I can't remember what the heck this guy's name is, and I don't have it written down in a R32 GTR. It was a very famous race towards the end of one of the series of the books. This car, the RX-7, of course, you may recall, is actually due for reissue this month. Actually came out this morning. And the R32 already exists as well. Be interested to see what R32 they give us, because there are two sets of R32s that Aoshima has done. One has a really crappy motorized chassis that continues underneath all of the Skyline series kits, and they put a newer one underneath the kits that came with an engine, as well as the newer tuner series, because they did a HKS Kansei and a Veilside version of the R32, and they had a new chassis underneath of them that allowed them to accept they didn't actually come with engines, I don't believe, maybe one or two of them did, but there was a factory stock R32 that they made an engine insert for. It is the engine insert that you see put into pretty much every other Nissan that they ever made after that. The big differences with these cars are going to have these new wings that are on the back here. This is much more giant wing than is actually on the kit that already exists, as well as this. You don't have to see what other parts are going to be here. They're talking about having a new roll cage and things like that. Over here are some VIP cars. They're going to be doing Road Jam, which is a tuner house in Japan. That's going to be doing their version, or they're going to be doing the Road Jam versions of the 2010 Crown Royal Saloon and Crown Athlete. Here's the K-Brake Crown Athlete custom version, Volume 2. It was like the crazy custom. I can't remember what the heck they called this. Remember the Volume 1, it's actually been pushed back to September now, but it's coming out here shortly. And this is an Impol Tuning House Y31 SEMA early model. So they're doing a Impol late model. This is going to be the early version. Over here are two more Liberty Walk kits. This is the 2015 version of their four-door 1972 Skyline GTX, and over here is a race-inspired, not an actual race car, obviously, because it's got big old Liberty Walk, staggered and cambered tires on it. Their version of a Japanese Grand Prix type racer, of course, with their own, spin on it with fender flares and things like that. There'll be some new parts here. They don't have a racing version of this in the Liberty Walk series right now, so the racing parts up here will be new. I think there's supposed to be a new set of wheels that are actually going into both of these kits. And like I said, this is just an updated version of their existing four-door kit, because they've, of course, updated the real car. Over here are pre-painted Lamborghini Aventadors. They're going to be doing one in the Orancio Aragos and the Bianco Canapas. I apologize for my horrible Italian. These are going to be pre-painted kits. One's obviously orange, one's white, pearl white actually. And so these will be like all of the other pre-painted kits that Aoshima has been doing recently, where they are completely pre-painted, bodies, interiors, chassis, the whole 9 yards. There's going to be a very limited edition overseas, meaning, outside Japan, matte black one. That's not listed on here, but it is listed on Aoshima's corporate website. You will probably not be able to get that kit through Hobbylink Japan. You will have to go through Stevens or perhaps Hong Kong or Singapore or one of the other Asian countries that is not considered to be a Japanese vendor. Here is the next version of the RX-7. You may recall they just put out the Type 4 FD3S RX-7. Here it is in police trim. I'm not exactly sure what police department this is. I didn't write it down. Here is a really neat little piece. This is going to be the next modified version of the Subaru Sambar 2012 kits. This, of course, being a little fire truck. It's got a little chemical pumper on the back here, and, obviously Sambar being a tiny-ass little thing as it is, this will be a really kind of neat piece as far as being a fire apparatus. This is also Aoshima, and I believe they said as far as Japan goes entirely, the first 1/24 scale piece of fire apparatus. Now, keep in mind, the thing's only about this big anyway, but it is the first 1/24 scale piece of fire apparatus as far as anyone can really remember in Japan. And then over here, lastly, is the next in the lineage of the E70 Corollas. This is going to be the late GT, also SE version of the Corolla. These are the SE wheels, I believe, on here right now. So once again, we're stretching this tooling out even further. This is all based on like a 1970s best car vintage. I finally found the original kit of this on eBay. It's like 70 some odd dollars of the original best car vintage Corolla they all started with. So this will be the now I believe fourth variation of the original tooling to come out. So if you're into the Corollas, you got another Corolla coming out. These all pretty much are coming out later in the year, with the exception of the Road Jams. The Road Jams are supposed to come out in October. Basically because I don't believe there's really too much to changing this into the Road Jam, except I believe it'll be like a glue-on set of skirts to the bottom here, and then it look like executors to me, but I could be wrong. I'm horrible with wheels. But then there'll be a set of obviously VIP wheels packaged with it. The kit itself already comes with a low-down cambered suspension anyway, so there's really nothing that's going to be done here as far as really doing something to the kit that's impressive. We're talking November on the Liberty Walk, November on the Corolla, November on the pre-paint. This, of course, the big deal here will be trying to get the paint colors to be correct, and then everything else, the Sambar, the police car, RX-7, the two modified, because like I said, these already exist, they're just going to be modifying, the two modified Initial D cars, and of course the big Mamma Jamma new supercar tool, the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento. These are all going to be December kits. Now, of course, that may mean they're going to stretch out into, the beginning of 2016, but that's what they're expecting. So anyway, guys, that's what we got coming as far as information from the All Japan Toy and Hobby Show. That is going to be, like I said, the 25th, 26th, and 27th of September. When that show actually happens, that following Friday, we'll have, in our status report, we'll have all the pictures from the show, like we did with the Shizuoka show. We'll have some 3D renderings of tooling mock-ups, I should say, of the Sesto Elemento. This coming Friday's video. We'll try to get you what we know about that Mazda Roadster that's going to be coming out of Tamiya as soon as we find out about it as well. We won't make a special video for it, but for first Friday we find out for sure. Hasegawa's not doing any more automotive tools for the rest of the year, so unless they decide to repop the last of the 318Is for like the end of the year, there's no new tool, modified tooling scheduled for the end of 2015. I've seen their release thing. It's all IPMS and Fantasy World and stuff like that. So nothing there. And Fujimi, we don't know. I mean, we showed you those new vans that they're going to be doing, the Snap-Tight Easy kits that are going to be coming out at some point in the future. No release date on those, and you never know what they're going to do beyond that. So anyway, guys, we'll see you guys Friday. We have a shipping crate video here soon. I don't know what order these are going to go up in, so maybe it'll be after, maybe before. But at any rate, see you guys on the other side.